What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Essential Scares podcast, the only show that dares to ask the question, is it essential? I am your host, Corbin, and with me today, as always, is Alan.
Good evening.
And Bobby.
Oh, hello there.
Well, we have got a great show for you today. We are starting up the final franchise that will lead us into our 100th episode. So the very last 3 episodes here of our first 100. A crazy time. And to celebrate that, we are focusing on the Basket Case trilogy starting today with none other than Basket Case. But first, Bobby has a spoiler warning.
I do. This will serve as your first one and only spoiler warning for Basket Case. If you do not want Basket Case spoiled for you, please skip the time code provided in our show notes or description for our essential spoiler-free discussion. Basket Case is one of the rare instances in film where a man hangs dong. Alan.
You know, it's funny you say that, because that is in my notes, too. It just says something to the effect of, wow, full frontal male nudity. Huh.
A lot of pubes on that guy. A lot of pubes on that guy.
It was the 80s. You know, I guess that tracks. I don't know. I wasn't around then. So Basket Case. We have a boy with a basket, all right? Little Red Riding Boy takes his basket into the big city. He's getting himself a nice little hotel room in a great, really good part of downtown Manhattan, having a grand old time. Lo and behold, he's on a revenge plot, which is about as thin as the thinnest sheet of paper you ever would write on in school. Very thin. This plot is not complex. There's not a lot to it. Boy, shockingly, there's something in the basket, which everyone keeps continuously asking him every time they have an opportunity to.
What's going on with that basket?
And shockingly, to everyone, it's a person that was once attached to him, his brother Belial. And they want to kill all the doctors that separated them. And that's it. Let's open it from there. I didn't hate this movie.
No, of course not. This movie's got a weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's got a weird charm to it, but at the same time, it's like, what's happening? This
movie has charm, and then at the very end, it's like, let's get weird, and it kind of loses a fair bit of charm points for me with the ending of this film.
Why? Is it when the basket case rapes the lady? Is that the part of the?
It's a little weird.
The corpse, you mean?
Yep. And then the brother walks in on him just fucking a corpse. It's just like, they had this whole charm kind of
around.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Can the basket case nut?
The basket case doesn't wear clothes, and we do see the whole basket case.
That's true. Did it also
jar
you
that
guys?
Didn't shy away from male nudity? We must assume the basket case cannot.
But Belial can't hang dong.
I think you are correct. You're objectively correct, because we do. Yeah. Huh.
Right?
This movie's weird. Like, I can't. It's hard to necessarily portray it, but this film just takes you on a wild ride. There's a good 20 minutes of let's just explain the totality of the plot to you an hour into the film, right at the very end, just cause you're too stupid to figure it out, I guess. I don't know. This movie's weird. Oh, and Belial stop motion sometimes, just cause.
I like the stop motion parts.
It threw me off so much.
It's kind of cute.
There's one good. The stop motion's usually pretty bad, right? But there's one good moment of the stop motion where they have. It's when they're killing the lady doctor, and she's screaming, but they reverse it, so it's actually Belial falling off, and it looks like Belial is jumping on him. It actually was kind of a little smart little effect there. I was like, oh, cool. This movie's in the Museum of Modern Art.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They said it in the beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't like it's literally
I
the
wasn't
very
paying
beginning
attention.
of the film.
I did some digging, and apparently one of the main reasons why it's in the Museum of Modern Art is because it shows Times Square before it got so like commercialized, right? Where Times Square was kind of used to be this like dingy, grungy. There's a reason why there's that porn store at Times Square still, because like that was just what it was at the time. Before the creeping before we hit the post irony stage of the evils of capitalism and Times Square became a monument to all things America. It used to be something that people kind of looked down on. So that's kind of a fun little tidbit about this movie.
That makes more sense, I guess. I do want to
I
give a
was
shout out.
wondering why it was in the Museum of Modern Art because, like, honestly, the whole time while watching it, I was kind of waiting for like
The art.
a movie that deserved that on its own merits. Yeah, exactly. And then when the movie ended, I was kind of like, okay, why though? Why this movie?
Of all the movies.
Yeah.
Look,
so that makes sense.
all you need to do to get into the Museum of Modern Art is travel back in time to a place that no longer looks like it does now, and you're in. What's so hard about that, millennials? Get a job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Get a
All
time
you have-
machine. Get an old job.
All you have to do is write a movie about a half conjoined twin corpse fucking a lady.
You're in.
Who knew it was that easy? Who knew?
Yeah.
So anyway, Alan, you're gonna like shout out
The
something, or
hotel
something, say
manager is awesome. Of all
Yeah.
the people in the
Oh,
film,
yeah.
I don't even believe that man is acting. He's just a New Yorker that they picked up and like, we need you to be this guy. And he's like, I knew that guy. He's my cousin. Like, he just like fits it perfectly.
Be
to
that
it.
guy. I am that guy.
Exactly. He just nails it. Full frontal, the whole nine. It's great. Every time. Yes.
No. Dwayne did the full frontal.
Oh, you're right. Dwayne did do the full
Come on,
frontal,
Alan.
running through the streets.
It's like you didn't even pay attention.
That
You
okay.
know,
think
I
about that.
tried.
Think about that scene, right? Because they're clearly
thinking
just
about it.
on a
I'm thinking
2
about
o'clock. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in a New
Yep.
York street that they
Yep.
just like.
They-
Okay, dude.
They didn't
Just
have
go.
the clearance to film on that street. True.
Absolutely not. There's no way,
Yep.
right?
No, they definitely. It was in the the IMDb notes.
Okay.
So they just commit a minor crime.
Yeah.
Just 'cause.
Yeah. And they just did like one block, and they would just like run him back and forth.
That's awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine like driving home from a midnight shift and just see a man like lit up.
I mean, probably didn't think anything of it, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh boy. So let's talk about the movie itself. I guess we
Yeah,
kind
let's
of
do it.
we're skirting around. I mean, I'd heard of Basket Case before. This was all of our first times watching it, and
Yes.
I knew that it was like schlock, but I don't think I understood just quite how far it went down that path.
I knew it was schlocky, but this schlocky?
Yeah, like I didn't realize that this was like a child's shoestring budget, and that this was made by like 12 people and their cousins. Like I didn't know that this was one of those movies, and it's kind of a weird Evil Dead in that way, where it's like, oh, good job, like this actually wasn't that bad, all things considered. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, this is so obvious because so much of it is really not good.
It's a movie that like weirdly like it's a guy who's never directed a feature trying to figure out how to direct a feature is what it feels like, and it's very
that's what it is, right? Yeah, it's very strange.
I personally I love that shit because you never know what's going to happen. Like this movie does not have it has a plot, right? But the plot doesn't do what a plot should. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Belial.
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean.
Like
my first plot note that I wrote down was like, "Wow, they revealed the basket case so soon." show him like right away. It's
Yeah.
like, what kind of movie is this then?
Yeah.
Like, where do you go from here?
It's like equal parts revenge film, but also
Yeah.
like, who's the good guy in this movie?
There is
Yeah.
Who's the good guy in this movie?
the receptionist who dies. Like
They try to
know.
make it Dwayne, but like Dwayne's like in on it the entire. He's like fine with it. Like he's fine with all the murders.
he's
absolutely fine with it,
facilitating the murders
He,
effectively.
Right.
It's like you know what? It's like the movie Renfield. You know, like the movie Renfield, starring everybody's favorite actor, Nicholas Hoult, right? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a movie about the guy who is helping Dracula, but like is cool with it, like.
And like, there's one scene, right, where after he goes on his date and he comes back and he just complains to the basket case that like, oh, this has been your idea the whole time and I'm just going along with it, blah blah blah. And so they kind of like try to make it seem like the basket case is running the show and that he's just, you know, the companion. And then the very next day he brings the basket case to kill somebody.
Yeah. And is like cool with it too, like, and like
Yeah,
is like
exactly, like he knows exactly what's happening. He helps him get in there, like he does all the legwork.
Is that
It
the
happens,
Dr.
and
Cutter
he's
kill?
like,
Is that one?
Yeah,
Hmm.
which was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it. With her like the fucking like.
I liked it all the way up until that last shot when they showed her with all, and then she's just like screaming and then dies. It's like, I thought, this doesn't make any sense at all.
It was Giallo-esque. Like it's
them. They were jumping off like another cliff of the Schlock mountain.
So I have a question. Oh god, I'm knocking stuff over.
Alan,
is this movie intentionally bad? Or is this someone's earnest attempt to make a film and it's just bad? Because I've kind of waffled on both of those as I've been thinking about this film.
I think like that it's an intentionally ridiculous premise that was given its utmost, and that the director's inability and learning on set turned things into different things along the way, and so like it doesn't always like vibe with itself, but it just is like what it is.
I think you're right. I think they changed tones too many times throughout this movie, because there's like, okay, so like, because like the dude's obviously like competent behind the camera, right? Like shot. Sure. This movie is shot very well for what it is, right?
This is like the number one thing that doesn't deceive, like that just properly deceives the price point. Right? Yeah, it's like, oh, shot well, actually.
Yeah, like it's not acted very well.
It's not acted that badly for the
I know
the era and the type of
we've
movie.
watched significantly worsely acted films.
And every character in this movie is just full. Like everything, every character, including like the weird twins of the vet techs. But like,
I didn't realize they were twins until they were both. I thought it was just like a cool like camera transition.
Yeah,
you know. and that like they were using like it as like a passage of time, you know. They showed him first at the desk, and then now she's letting him through the door, and then like when 5 minutes later they were just both looking through the window. It's like, oh, there's just two of them.
It's amazing. It's so weird. It's like every character in this is like so fully like what's her name, the neighbor,
Debbie,
maybe. It's I know it's one of those names that's like it can go either. It's like Jackie or something like that. But like she's got Casey. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Her house is just full of smiley face shit, and like you buy it because she seems just like, you know, like it's kind of like super heavily implied that she's like a prostitute, right? I'm not.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
So like
right
they're doing the hooker with the heart of gold thing because like you buy into like, oh yeah, she just seems like a genuinely kind person, right? Like so like it's really cool. You just see all of it. It's like, man, there's a lot of heart in this movie. But then it's just like I think you're right. I think they got a tone wrong, and like.
How much more of the past sequences do you think are actually shot for this? Because it almost feels like they feel like two very different films when watching them.
I find it hard to believe that this movie has any deleted scenes.
Yes.
So none would be my guess. I don't think they shot any more of it. I think you saw all of it.
No, I think you saw the entire. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it go on for too long? Does it feel like two separate movies? Absolutely, it does. Totally jarring. Way too long. So long it doesn't feel like a flashback anymore. Like
That's
totally,
like
absolutely.
At one point, I'm sitting like when they're finally getting around.
I forgot about it entirely.
It's like 10 minutes,
but it's a long 10. You know?
It is. I mean, Dwayne goes to sleep and wakes up like 3 times in the flashback, which just makes it seem like a lot of time is passing. I do love when they first reveal Dwayne with the basket case still attached, though, and like that's.
It looks like a teenage boy who just got caught masturbating. Like
I know, he's just like, this is just my basket case. Don't worry about it.
Don't look at me! Don't look at us! Don't look at us!
This is just my basket case. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Also, Puppet Belial, so bad, but I love it.
I love Puppet Hand Belial.
Oh, Puppet Hand Belial is great.
When it's just the hand.
I loved the first person scenes that were like clearly like first person filming, wasn't quite there yet, so they're like always like kind of coming around from the side, and you're like, yeah, this is his POV. Yeah, I guess.
My favorite Belial is closed mouth Belial with glowing eyes. That happens randomly right at the end.
Yeah, it looked like they had like someone's eyes actually, like it was like a Belial mask. It was like, oh, that was kind of a cool little effect for one shot of the whole movie.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that this movie is a conundrum.
It is a conundrum.
Because like I would much rather have been like this owns, or I kind of hate this, but I'm kind of like, do I hate this? Do I like it a lot?
Does it own? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm siding closer to the owns category with this conversation, but I'm still not entirely convinced.
Yeah. No, I do agree. If I were to say anything bad about the movie, right? We've said almost exclusively good things, or good things with a helping of bad.
Yeah.
It's that I'll be honest and say this movie did not actually like interest me. Like I watched the movie, but I was never like grabbed by it. I never felt like I wanted to give my full attention. It was just like I had to watch it, so I watched it. But we talk a lot about like, oh, how much did you want to look at your phone? How much did you look at other things? And like my computer has 2 screens, and this movie was like a 2-screen movie. And I felt like I gave it my utmost, but I could not care about half the stuff that was happening. It was just never like actually interesting.
For me, I had a similar issue, and it's almost always when it's these like in between sequences. They're like trying to flesh out this plot. They're trying to give you more depth behind everybody, and no one realistically needs that kind of depth. No one earns that kind of depth. It's like when they're trying to pull, they're trying to squeeze juice from a rock or squeeze water from a stone. Like you
blood
can't.
From a stone.
Blood from a stone. You can't.
Look at Bob.
There's nothing you can pull from these characters. They're so thin, but they just and they don't. It's not that they try once and then move on. They just keep coming back and trying again and again and again. It's like, dude, I'm just gonna look at like some Games Workshop Dark Angels, man. I just like something that pretty color, like anything.
This movie is schlock, and should know it's schlock, but it doesn't, right? We don't
That's the sin it commits.
Yeah, because it's it tries very hard to be, and for what it's worth, does put in a valiant effort. But this movie, it's called Basket Case. It's about a puppet that kills its doctors. It's not. This is. Shockingly, I'm wrong because it is in the Museum of Modern Art, so I'm incorrect on that. But
we're about to say it's not high art. Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah. It's objectively determined that it was, in fact.
Yeah. But
that's funny.
It's weird because this movie there's these weird points of overacting during the kills, and it reminds me of a gore, an Italian gore movie. That's what it reminds me of a lot. And that way, there's not enough gore in it for it to be an Italian gore movie.
Yeah,
but the overacting of it is okay, sure, we're here for it, I suppose.
It was also it was weird to me that all of the blood and gore was kind of an after the fact thing. There was a lot of shots of the puppet clawing at somebody, but you never saw wounds occurring or anything like that.
They didn't know how to do that.
Right. But this is this is 1982, right? We are in the the gore explosion here. This is really blowing up, and so I think even considering the era, it's kind of weird to have a movie that is like that where you don't see any of it, and then the basket case leaves, and then you see the shot of the guy's face, and then he has the gore prosthetic.
And those look good for what it's worth.
No, for sure.
I agree. It's weird because you see that and you go, well, why couldn't I have seen that actually happen? Give me something here instead of just and a dead face.
Because the movie cost $35,000 to make. That's why.
Yeah, and they only had $16,000.
Yeah. so take that for what it is.
How much what they make in the box office on this? Do we have that number? I'll look that number up. I'm curious.
I mean, it's probably making a bunch of money now.
Yeah, it definitely has ended up making money.
I will say this though. Even
released in the theater.
Unlike you guys, I didn't necessarily feel the 2-screen itch. I did kind of feel oddly compelled by this movie. And I don't know, right? And it's very easy for somebody to say in hindsight, a la Tommy Wiseau, right, that I meant to make this funny, right? But there's enough of this movie that makes me go, I think they had some idea of what's going on here.
Right.
So
and that's fair.
As a horror comedy, this is pretty good, right?
It does do a pretty good job of straddling the genres.
Yeah.
I think that the issue, right, is that instead of having scenes that are instead of kind of doing the Evil Dead, right, where it was some scenes are funny and scary, you never know if the next jump is gonna make you go ha ha or if you're gonna cry because you right?
You don't know what the punchline's going to be.
Yeah. This movie is just kind of every other scene, whole scenes are funny and then whole scenes are scary. And so it feels like maybe this director, and we'll see, right, because the same guy I think did both of the sequels.
I believe it's the same guy and the same brother. I think Dwayne is played by the same guy in all three as well.
He is. Dwayne is in all three.
It feels like this director could probably become a good horror comedy director after this. I think that maybe the bones are there once kind of the intermingling of the genres happens more fluidly. But this one is just this so all over the place.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also really important to recognize that Evil Dead 1 was not much of a horror comedy either.
No, that absolutely true.
So Evil Dead 2 is the masterclass in horror comedy. I'll fight you till you're dead. I'll do it, man.
Alan, yeah.
We've never
Yeah,
done an
Lost
Evil
Shit
Dead.
Son?
We haven't done
That
any
is
Evil
true.
Dead
We've
movies
never done
for this
Evil Dead,
podcast.
That might just be my next pick when it's my turn.
Oh, dude, we can do the remake and Rise. Oh,
5 movies, 3 seasons of TV.
dude, I love Ash versus
That is a healthy.
I love Ash versus the Evil Dead. I love that
We'd
shit
ha-
so much.
We'd
dude.
have to include it, right? We'd have to.
I would be happy
Absolutely.
to. It'll be the first half of the year.
There you go.
That's okay.
But no, I don't know. Like, I totally get the feeling, and I feel like I always end up with movies I like defending them too hard. Because yes, does this movie go a little bit? Does it lose itself a lot in this movie? Of course it does. Like, again, 10 minutes for a backstory that was heavily implied throughout the entirety of the movie.
I think
Yeah.
saying heavily implied is being generous.
Oh, you're right.
Didn't-
You're right.
Didn't they? They
no,
heavily
no.
imply, and then they tell you the backstory, and then they show you the backstory.
No,
Isn't
no,
that
no.
How it goes?
It heavily implies they show you the backstory, then they tell you the backstory.
Okay. Yeah.
Because- yeah,
It's like,
because-
I know there's a part with a
Beat
scene
you
where
over the
Dwayne
head
just
with
literally tells you what happened.
Yeah. It's the when he kills the lady doctor. She's like, "Aren't you that freak boy that we made
Oh, yes.
normal?" Like,
Yeah, and what a great scene that could have been to use that as like the reveal of like, why are they
Yeah.
killing these people? And it's like, oh, this is why she recognizes them and she's gonna reveal to us. But we already knew because
yeah, like that's the thing. It's like, come on, man. Like there's that. I think is the biggest problem. Is like, I think you're right. We've seen every piece of footage that Basket Case has for us to see, and this movie could have used an edit.
yeah. Though in their
pretty
defense,
tight
I will
60.
say the bit when they actually cut the basket case off, great piece of effects work. Great.
Oh,
great,
yeah.
great fun. Yeah, that was awesome.
The sound effects not so great, but
It was okay.
the
It
sound
was
in
fine.
general in this film was kind of
Why? Because it sounded like chewing.
yeah. It
No,
it
that
sounded
was
a
in
lot
the
like
other
Deathbed.
movie. We watched the chewing movie.
Oh, Deathbed, the bed that eats.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Definitely better than Deathbed, the bed that eats, though.
Oh, miles
way better than
Deathbed.
Deathbed, the bed that eats. Way better.
That's it. That's all. That was the only comment.
Yeah.
I just want to.
Do I transition? How much better is it? Do we have anything else to say about Basket Case?
I liked it. That's it. That's all
Okay,
I got. Yeah.
So we've determined then that this movie is better than Deathbed, the bed that eats, which, to be fair, is one of the lowest rated things that we've ever reviewed. So a pretty low bar, right? But with that in mind, if we were to rate this movie, maybe on a scale of 0 to 5, with half points allowed, and exclusively, rating it better than Deathbed, the bed that eats, which the highest score that received was a 0.5. With that in mind, how would we rate Basket Case? Going from highest to lowest, something we haven't tried to do for a while. Yeah, sorry, Bobby. Bobby's up first.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to give it a score, but then I opened our essential stats and I saw a movie we all really like, Blood Diner.
Great film.
And we had that at a 3.5 out of 5. And I was like, you know what? I think Basket Case might be a 3.5 out of 5. It's weird. It's schlocky. But you know what? Ultimately, I think it kind of just works. But then I saw that Blood Diner is a 3.5 out of 5. I'm like, it's not Blood Diner, though. So I think I'm actually going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. Now, you might be thinking, Bobby, isn't this a quintessential Bobby 1.5? No, I think this movie is actually good in a lot of ways on its own merits. I don't think there was a lot of unintentional stuff. I think like again, I even said this during the cast, which you've listened to all the way through, dear listener, because you're a really good listener. It's what we love about you. But I think there is a world. Granted, looking at the covers of Basket Cases 2 and 3, but this movie was meant to be kind of funny, and I'm willing to live in that world. So it's a 3. It's a 3 out of 5 for me.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I made Bobby go first, because there's no chance that either of us are higher than that. There's no way.
I stand by my points.
I don't think it's an incorrect score, right? I don't think any score is incorrect. Maybe a few that we've had, a few that Alan's had.
Yeah. Wow. You can call me out for crimes of the future like that? Jesus Christ.
That's definitely on the list.
We'll see that one again.
Yeah.
You gave Crimes of the Future a 5? Alan!
We're gonna talk about it in a month, Bobby.
I think that Alan is going to have a higher score than me, just based off of a few comments that we had. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, Alan, where do you land on this?
So much like Bobby, I wanted to look at my stats, get an idea of where things have been the past couple of weeks, and just kind of like try and get some touchstones. Like, so I don't know what just happened there. The recent Nightmare films, our past franchise we covered, they're all over the place. A lot of bad movies and some pretty good movies. And I was looking at, like, Dream Master. Now, this isn't Dream Master bad. I gave Dream Master a 1 out of 5. It's not that bad. No. It's definitely got more merit than that. 100%. But not a whole lot. So I'm actually at a 2 out of 5. I think it's just under average. And for me, it's the lack of being self-aware enough is kind of what does it in for me. It's not self-aware enough of what it is to really push that schlocky nature into something that I think is more than the sum of its parts. And I think that's where this one kind of fails for me. It's not self-aware enough of what it actually is. So it doesn't have that charm. Also, all the charm it does build up, it loses very swiftly with the end of the film. It just kind of loses all of that for me. It's like, this is weird now. So 2.
So, I also, I'd love to know what Bobby's like.
What's the Bobby's deep in thought.
Yeah.
I've just realized I've only ever given one other movie a 3.
Like an actual 3.
Yeah, bodies.
That feels right.
I honestly, same pros and same cons that I would have with bodies. I have with Basket Case. Really interestingly shot. Has a lot of problems with like certain design elements, set design for bodies, plot elements for Basket Case, pacing. But like ultimately, pretty fun, pretty good, pretty funny. Like, yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So I'm also, as one does, right, looking back at the movies that we've watched, and I'll say recently with a big asterisk there, because it's kind of been a while, but we've watched a fair amount of schlock since we've started the franchise version of the show. And there's a few movies that we've given that we've done that were like very, very schlocky, and I think Alan knows where I'm going because he sees me in the spread.
I don't like you highlighting Ghoulies Go to College. I don't like this.
So yeah, when we watched Ghoulies, right? Ghoulies 3 and Ghoulies 4. I gave both of those movies a 1 out of 5, right? And I haven't thought about either of those movies in a while. I didn't think about them probably until I looked at this spreadsheet here. And what made me look at them is that Alan talked about Dream Master, another movie that I gave it 1 out of 5, right? And I mean, the thing is like, do I actually think that Basket Case is better than any of those movies? I don't know. Like, I probably enjoyed it about as much as those. I'd rewatch Ghoulies 4 especially. I'd rewatch right now, which I thought was a blast. And when I'm comparing it to, a movie like that, just a big dumb puppet movie, like this movie is kind of like not dumb enough and also like too dumb, But I recognize that I think Basket Case has the bones of something that's a little bit better. It is a little bit better on the technical side, like even though I probably enjoyed Ghoulies 4 more than Basket Case, I don't think that it is better than Basket Case. And so I'm going to give Basket Case the edge here with a 1.5 out of 5. It's not truly terrible, but I don't know. It's just okay.
I'm going to go watch Ghoulies Go to College right when we get off of this. Like,
I hope you do. Yeah.
I want to see those boys get that Yank crown. I want to get a.
It's all about the Yank crown, and then they drink the whole case of beer.
He's got a little hat with a little.
They drink like 2,000 beers. Come on, Corbin. Don't
it's a mountain of beer.
And then the professor turns into a ghoulie.
Of course. Who else? What else would he turn into?
And where's the Yank crown? Like,
and you gave that a 1, Bobby. Come on.
I did.
I gave it a 0.5. I stand by that.
Now keep in mind, we did just get off of one of the most superior movies of schlock history, Ghoulies 2. Like,
oh yeah, that is true. Ghoulies 2 was strong in our memory at the time.
Yeah.
Which, a true masterpiece.
Yeah, Ghoulies 2 is very good, but Yanks is just a very funny bit that I refuse to let die.
Sometimes you just gotta yank.
Yeah, sometimes we just yank all day, baby,
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, gotta be the Yank King,
Yeah.
Well,
oh my God. No, wait, no. Before we do that, one more bit. I still remember. I still think quite fondly of that movie, the scene where the bomb rolls down the hill into the guy's golf cart.
Oh my God! Yes.
And he goes, oh, a bomb!
It blows up.
Just a Wile E. Coyote ass moment. Oh.
I needed more of that in Basket Case. I think. I don't know.
You needed more Wile E. Coyote. You needed more
What can I say? I like Looney Tunes.
Oh man.
Oh boy. Well, yanking isn't the only thing we do here. The other thing we do is discuss whether or not a movie is essential to horror as a whole. Now, this segment is spoiler-free, so if you skipped ahead, you should know that our scores thus far are a 3 out of 5 from Bobby, a 2 out of 5 from Alan, and a 1.5 out of 5 from me. But a movie being good or bad has little to nothing to do with its deservedness of being essential. And so with that in mind, gentlemen, do we think that Basket Case is essential to horror as a whole? Going in a completely random and different order, Alan, how do you feel about Basket Case?
Well, no. I mean, this film meanders. This film doesn't have anything that I think is remotely memorable. I think this is going to be a film that fast forward a year from now, we'll be scrolling through, just like, look, it'll be a similar kind of moment in our spoiler cast. We're like, what's a good comparison note? And we're going to come over this film and be like, oh yeah, we did watch that. Oh yeah, but the Basket Case and the weird, yeah. Okay, got it. Cool. I just don't think this film has almost anything of value that it contributes to horror. It's not schlocky enough to be of substance. It's not scary. It's not funny enough. It just doesn't do anything, I think, that helps it broach the question of if it's essential. So, no.
Okay. I'll go next. So, there's another movie that we covered on this show 81 episodes ago. Okay, so almost 2 years, right? Year and a half ago, we covered a movie by James Wan under the title Malignant. And the amount of times that I thought about Malignant while watching this movie is almost too many to count, right? And obviously, Malignant is inspired by this movie, right? Between like the Siamese twin aspects, the Giallo vibes, like it's kind of pretty clear that James Wan was like, well, what if we made Basket Case, but like legitimate, like a serious movie? And I really loved *Malignant*, right? I gave it a above average score and then a no. But I think that my critical consensus of that movie maybe is not quite accurate as to how I actually feel about it, which is that I really like *Malignant*.
Yeah,
and
*Malignant* was real fun.
If it wasn't for Basket Case, I don't think I ever would have gotten *Malignant*, right? And so I think that if *Malignant* was a yes, this would be a yes because of it, right?
Hmm.
Unfortunately, *Malignant* was a no, and I don't think that this movie did a whole lot in general, but I think that this movie maybe what is personally essential in that way, because it did inspire things that I really love. So, something that we don't do often, I'm going to say this maybe is a Corbin yes, but I'm going to say actually it's a no.
You're just the embodiment of the well, yes, but actually no meme.
Yeah, because I don't think it should be a no, but I mean, it's important. It probably is important to me,
gentlemen,
in a sideways way. Yeah. Yes.
I disagree with you both entirely.
Well, of course.
Now, I could explain to you guys the complex reasons why Basket Case is essential, but I don't need to do that because the Museum of Modern Art has already decided it's essential. I'm sorry, people smarter than us, more cultured than us, who curate the Museum of Modern Art said, yeah, we should give this movie a glow up and make it a thing. Absolutely, it's essential for that reason. And for that reason alone, I don't know why they want it. I told you the theory that, or the things that they said it was in the spoiler cast, so go watch that. But I really enjoyed Basket Case, but if it wasn't in the Museum of Modern Art, I probably wouldn't have said it was essential. But they did, so I don't feel qualified to tell them they're wrong. So yes, it is absolutely essential.
Honestly, hella valid. It's hard to argue with that.
So yeah, that's speaking of being hella valid. What are your handles? Where can we find you guys?
You can find me on Twitter at Corbangarang, or on Twitter, Instagram, and Mastodon at Bolters and Bourbon. I tweet about video games at Corbangarang and war games at Bolters and Bourbon. I have been trying to get back into actually using socials. Socials are weird for me because I'm on socials a fair amount and I read a lot, and then I see people say something and I think a response, and then I just scroll, and it's like, maybe I should just put that out there, I don't, but maybe I should. So trying to get that a little bit more. I just saw your note of this. try to be more of a part of the community, as it were, especially so far as war games and the local area. Mostly just trying to.
We're currently fighting in our essential docs here.
Yeah. Just getting ready for our big our quarterly whiskey night, which we talked about on the show before. Alan is hosting this quarter, which means we all have to have a mini road trip and play some Warhammer and drink some whiskey, and it's gonna be great. On my adventure of watching actual movies besides horror movies, I've recently watched both Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Ant-Man 3, one of which was amazing and one of which was not so good. And I think it's pretty obvious which one was which.
You really liked
Guardians.
Quantumania,
It's
huh?
Guardians is the important one. Yeah. Well, I did love MODOK.
Yes! He's designed only for killing.
Dude, they said that in the movie, and I was like, I cannot believe you actually said that out loud. But yeah, Marvel gonna Marvel, and you can find me at Corbangerang at Bulges and Bourbon. Thank you.
You can find me at twitch.tv/theredweenie, where I do not post. I am very much not online. Although all of my relevant socials are there, and hopefully someday soon I'll get back into streaming. I do like it. It's just I don't game as much as I used to. That being said, however, I did play a bunch of games. I played Bolt Gun, Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun, very very fun, very good time. I played the alpha test of Speed Freaks, also really good time. I played.
What was your favorite rig? I didn't know you
were
playing.
I liked the War Trike, the kilobots, because you can like get up and then you can get all up in there with the claw. It was kind of fun. And also, it reminds me of the most of Mr. Grimm. So,
yeah.
Which was I also like the Rucka, the one that shoots the bomb squigs, the Rucka, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So Speed Freaks is just Twisted Metal, but using orcs from 40k instead, which is very fun for me. Played a bit of Destiny. The new dungeon came out, so I played that with some buds.
So
good time. It's pretty good. I liked it. Yeah. I'm also getting ready for the exodus to the wasteland that is known as Indiana to go see my very good friend Alan. It's a journey, and it's a journey into an abyss, but it'll be worth it to give that boy a kiss on his little forehead. So yeah, twitch.tv/theredweenie. All my relevant socials are there. Could be cool if you come and follow me. Maybe I'll post more if you guys like me. Yeah, that's right. The ball's in your court now, listener.
I love that.
How many follows to get posts out of you?
I don't know. If somebody I don't know that is like a legitimate person follows me, and it's not like another one of those like selling feet pics, actually gives me a follow, I'll probably start posting a little bit more frequently on Instagram. There's enough Insta pics. Yeah, just one.
I mean, it's very little. You can find me at a seal punter just about anywhere. I have also not been posting much because I deleted social stuff off my phone. I realized I was like sitting at work one day and I'm like, why? I just kept asking myself that question. So I deleted Twitter, Facebook. I have Instagram on there, but like I don't really do anything with Instagram, so it's just there. But yeah, I finally built my Blackstone grill that my whole family got for me for my birthday last year. Mostly because I need to get it tested out because everyone's coming over for whiskey night, and I intend on using that to make smash burgers. I learned some very important lessons while making smash burgers last night. Firstly, bigger patties. Gotta have bigger patties. Have to. Because 2.5 ounces, not enough. They shriveled up way too much. Way more seasoning salt because it just didn't taste as good as it could have. And a better burger press to really like get them pounded on there. So I'm excited. I'm feeling confident that we're going to have some pretty damn good burgers and a bunch of other stuff that I haven't decided on what I'm making just yet, but it's probably gonna be very simple. But yeah, I played the new dungeon as well in Destiny, and it's fantastic. Some of the most fun I think I've had in Destiny in a long while. And that's about it. I'm building a bunch of boarding actions terrain. It's a lot, let me tell you.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah. Ain't it?
Yeah.
16 of these things.
He's telling me he has to glue pieces. You see how crazy he sounds? There's no gluing required for the boarding action, dude.
You gotta glue some of it.
No, you don't.
Corbin, where can we find the podcast?
You can find the podcast anywhere at Essential Scares. We are active on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we would love it if you gave us a follow, tweeted at us, and whatnot. We are coming in on our 100th episode here. we've mentioned it a few times, the 100th episode spectacular, and I kind of realized this in between episodes that it's been like months since we actually said like what that episode was going to be.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And so basically, we're doing these last three episodes, right? 97, 98, 99 of Basket Case, and then 100, episode 100 is going to be the three of us looking back on the first 99, right? So the first 99 movies that we covered, and reevaluating after time, if we still believe that those movies are essential or not. If there are scores that we would like to change, maybe we've seen movies that have been influenced by them or that influenced it that, maybe would affect how we rate movies, between the 99 episodes of the show and 2 years of 33 days of horror. We have all watched a lot more horror movies since we started the show, and we already came into it with varying degrees of horror familiarity. So we're going to take this opportunity to kind of celebrate, where we've been, what we've done so far, look back, correct some things, and then get right back into it. The format of the show after episode 100, who knows? Maybe franchises still. If you guys like franchises, let us know. If you'd rather us go back to like themes or random stuff, whatever, let us know. We are open to it. But we are always taking recommendations, so just let us know. In the bios for all of our socials is a link to our Discord, where we are on pretty much all day, every day, and happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. In between episodes, the Diablo 4 is coming out. So if you're listening to this and you got the Ultimate Edition, you can play Diablo 4 right now. And we would love to talk
You
to
can
you
play with us.
Yeah. Would love to play Diablo with anybody from the show. We'll definitely be on. It comes out if you're listening to it on release day, it's out, and otherwise it's out this coming Tuesday for everybody else, regular orders. So certainly by then we'll all be on, and that would be awesome to talk about. So hit us up if you're a fan of Diablo. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you like the show, give us a rating, a review, a subscribe, a thumbs up. Hit the bell on YouTube if you have us on YouTube. And if you don't have us on YouTube, please do, because we're only like 2 or 3 follows away from getting the custom URL. And it'd be really cool if we did.
Thank you.
This week has been Basket Case. Next week, believe it or not, Basket Case 2. Thank you to Alan and Bobby for being on the show with me. I have been your host, Corbin, and this has been Essential Scares.
Play that breakdown, baby.